Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of year. The Hardies Award Show 2026 is upon us. But before we get to the award show, Penn State has a new running back coach. They lose a massive key player in the recruiting world, as well as picking up another running back commit locally here in State College, and another big beef master along the defensive line from Utah. All that and more in this week's episode. Please make sure you're subscribed wherever you are listening or watching. Welcome into Hardcore Penn State Football. I'm Cory Lestochi. With me, as always, the great Shawn Kane. How you doing today, Shawn?
Couple things. You kind of went to a bit of an Andrew Gorski there. Like like Penn State Football. You know, when he has his pregame thing. Shout out to him. It always makes me smile each week, even if I think we're gonna lose. And as far as how I'm doing,
did not know his first name, by the way.
Yeah, I think I had to look at his Twitter, I guess. And then as far as how I'm doing, Mike McDaniel was fired, so doing pretty good. I do like Mike as a person, so at a human level, I'm sad to see it, but at a football level, it was time for him to depart the Miami Dolphins.
I'm really happy for you, Shawn.
Thanks, man.
I'm very happy for you. Before we start the show, which we have a very good show for you. If you're new around here and you're like, what the heck is the Hardy Award Show? The Hardies is I think this is the third time we've done this now. At least maybe four?
No, I think it's the fourth. I think we did this every year.
Okay. This is the fourth time we have gone. It's basically a fun way. You got to vote. By the way, I left it open. So if you still want to vote, I'm going to let people continue to vote because I just opened it today because I'm a lazy piece of crap. So if you go onto our X profile, you'll see a link, a Google form if you want to vote for the Hardies Awards. They're not that close. So I feel comfortable revealing the results today. And I'll let it go a little bit longer, but there's like one or two that are relatively close. The rest of them are pretty substantial. But we have some awards that we'll be giving out at the end of the show tonight. And it's always an exciting time. But before we get into that, we got to talk about Penn State's new running back coach. We got to talk about a commit in the 2026 class. We got to talk about another transfer, another defensive line transfer. But before we get to any of that, Shawn, I have got to share a very valid comment from the YouTube comment section from the episode earlier this week. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but this someone commented and said, "Hey, first time listening, your content's really good, but the constant eating really distracted me." And I think it's hysterical. I've never done that before, besides our pizza party.
I've never eaten on here either.
And I don't know why. I was just in the mood for some cashews, and I thought I could just casually have some cashews sitting over here on the side and just be kind of I was just low key snacking, like nothing. I thought I was getting away with it pretty good. Apparently not. So hopefully that person comes back. But I thought if there was a way, in the most on-brand way ever, for someone to never watch us again, it's because I was eating cashews mid conversation. So anyway, I thought that was fantastic. We appreciate the honest feedback. I will not be having cashews today. I'll just be sipping on blue and white whiskey because I thought, what else to celebrate the Hardies Awards than whiskey that we are no longer being sponsored by?
I was going to say that is no longer a paid sponsorship in case anybody's thinking we're hawking it. We are not. If they want to sponsor us again, sure. But
yeah. So anyway, that's where I'm at with things. But Shawn, glad we're able to do the Hardies Award Show because unlike a couple other years where I feel like there was some time to marinate on the previous year, I bet a lot of people aren't even really excited about these awards because they're just already moving on to 20. And the longer we waited, I went back and looked. Last year, we did the award show on January 19th. Now, granted, it makes a little bit more sense given that Penn State played longer. But we still let it marinate a little bit. nobody wants to marinate. People are ready to move on to the next year and get going. And it would be weird, I think, to wait any longer to recap or to talk about any more of the players and things, those common motifs after tonight, because we're just so focused on the Matt Campbell era.
Yeah, and like the past 3 seasons were all relatively successful seasons, right? Like 2023, I think it was the worst of them. And look, we won 10 games and we went to the Peach Bowl. So you still got a lot of wins. There are a lot of things to like. But this year, I mean, the coach got fired 6 games into the season. So it's going to be it's going to be a little different. But we're going to try to find the positives. There is one award in particular that isn't very positive sometimes that guys get.
It was
and this year, all the candidates were all negative. And that's the wow, we were wrong. So I'm curious to see who won. I have an interesting answer for mine. But that's usually the spiciest one. And I think it's going to get real spicy this year.
When we first did that award, I think there was only one person that was negative on it, and it slowly transformed more and more negative,
right,
as we've gone through this every single time. So yeah, we'll get to that. Also, do I say cashews funny?
Say it again.
Cashews?
I think that's how I would say it.
I'm getting a little grilled.
But Scranton people are known to talk weird, so don't take it from me.
Okay, I was getting grilled a little bit there in the comment section for that, so I'm not really sure what. But breaking news, right? Just announced moments before we went live, about 40 minutes ago, from Matt Zenitz from CBS. Penn State is expected to hire Boston College Savon Huggins as its next running back coach. He is not bringing with him running back Turbo Richard, who is headed off to Indiana, I believe. But they have ranked second in rushing back in 2023 as well. So there you have it. Savon Huggins, who I don't know very much about at all yet, has officially landed as Penn State's next running backs coach. And I think it developed quickly because he was still bringing in running backs to Boston College as of like a couple days ago and like retweeting things.
Yeah, this one was a little surprising. I know Anthony Lynn, his Wikipedia page had gotten changed last week, and it had stayed up that he was Penn State's running backs coach. And, well, apparently that has not come to fruition. But we are getting Savon Huggins. And, Cory, as soon as I saw his name, I knew he sounded familiar. And he played at Rutgers. So he is from the area. He actually went to St. Peter's Prep. Old time people that followed recruiting might remember a guy named Brandon Wimbush who went there, committed to Penn State at one time, then decommitted, ended up at Notre Dame, had a relatively successful career out there. And so there's that. We had previously said I would like Penn State to get more of a connection in Jersey. This gives you that connection. And the good thing about Mr. Huggins is he's going to have a lot to work with. Running back, I do think it's our strongest room right now. When you look at the blend of experience and potential, I think Penn State did a pretty good job retaining who we wanted to retain. I think if you ask the staff, the 2 guys they'd want to retain probably were Quentin Martin and Tyke Hayes. So, and then we've been active in the portal there as well. So overall, based on what I've seen, I'm pretty happy with it. I know Boston College had a bad year, but they had a really good running back too. So it was not on Savon Huggins. Their Boston College's woes. So overall, pretty happy with the hire. Help us in recruiting too.
Yeah, and the New Jersey recruiting to me stands out. Even under the Franklin era, Penn State did not do a great job of recruiting New Jersey, which has a plethora of players and really good, just in general. Like, remember, like Wisconsin. Remember how many running backs Wisconsin took out of New Jersey there for a little bit? And Michigan does really well in New Jersey.
Michigan, yeah.
Hell, even Alabama and some of these other Southern schools come all the way up and pluck out of New Jersey as well. And so I think if Penn State can do a better job recruiting New Jersey, if there's concessions to be made in the DMV, just with Franklin, but also the fact they lost Ty Howe and they don't really have anybody that's from that area. If they're going to concede a little bit, especially we'll talk about Kenny Sanders in a second, maybe they can make up some of that ground in New Jersey now, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the hope. I mean, I'm very curious to see what Campbell's approach to the DMV is going to be, because there's not really that DMV connection. D'Anton Lynn did coach in Baltimore for a year or two, but that was the pros. And based on what I've heard, he wasn't a super active recruiter at USC. He was more the guy that closes the deal on Lions 247 podcast. They had their USC guy come on and he explained that. So I still have questions about the connection to the DMV, but yeah, Jersey was a place that when Penn State has its best teams, Penn State's recruiting New Jersey very well. Think guys like Mike Gesicki, Saeed Blacknall. Penn State has had a history of being successful in New Jersey, but like you said, that has dried up at least somewhat. Brandon Bell too, also New Jersey guy.
Sticks.
The Sticks.
All right, so that's Savon Huggins. I'm sure we'll learn more and more about him as he gets acclimated into State College. Let's just stick with running backs for a second, given that we're already there. Two kind of big news out of the running back room. James Peoples obviously broke live when we were live just the other day. And then we got some additional news the past 2 days. First off, running back Deontay Sheffy, who we hinted at before that he was visiting, has officially flipped from Syracuse to Penn State. He's a part of the 2026 class. He wasn't a take for the previous staff, if I'm understanding that correctly, but is a take for Matt Campbell's squad. And so that has helped round out the running back room, as well as the retaining of Tyke Hayes, freshman running back Tyke Hayes, who had some good moments, a great pass blocking play in the Pinstripe Bowl, and they're able to retain him. So the running back room, if you're paying attention for those at home, currently is Quentin Martin, Tyke Hayes, James Peoples, Deontay Sheffy, and then am I forgetting one more?
You mentioned Hansen, right?
No, and then Carson Hansen.
Okay. Yep.
From Iowa State. Which, Sean, to me, that's a pretty formidable running back room compared to, just losing Jabri Coleman, just losing Corey Smith, losing Katron Allen and Nick Singleton and Cam Wallace. Like that, losing all of those and getting back what you did, I'm not saying it's a gain or a loss. I guess if you include Singleton and Allen, it's definitely a loss. But I say they've done a pretty good job, a pretty complete job at the running back spot relative to some of the other position groups that they still definitely need to fill out.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to lose Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, no matter what. So can't fault the staff for that. And some of this was, I would imagine, Matt Campbell thinking about, okay, who would I rather have here? I know I'm bringing in Carson Hansen, and then looking at the running back room. And I'm not saying they didn't make any attempts to retain the other running backs, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they made Quentin Martin and Tyke Hayes a higher priority, both financially and then what they promised them as far as. I mean, I think Campbell takes a similar approach. He takes the approach of you're going to earn everything you get here, so nothing was promised to them necessarily as far as playing time, but certainly, when you factor in money, if you're being offered more money than the other guy, well, you're probably a higher priority on the depth chart, at least what they imagine. Sometimes that could change, of course, as we saw this past year in some areas. But yeah, as far as Sheffy goes, getting into him, my buddy Mike Rohrbeck actually mentioned he lives in State College as well and had seen Sheffy play. And he said this guy looks legit. And was a Syracuse commit, as he said. Had a lot of offers, though. Pitt, Missouri, Syracuse. So had some decent offers. The thing about playing in central Pennsylvania is you have the tendency of being overlooked sometimes. And it's not always necessarily fair, but that's just the reality. And yeah, he's going to be able to come and play for his hometown team. I'm sure that's where he always wanted to go. So a pretty good story in that way, and we're just going to have to see how he translates to this level here.
Do you know who else is potentially going to be able to play for their hometown school?
Who's that?
Hank Lustig.
Justin Lustig's son, yes.
Not officially, but he has received a preferred walk-on from Penn State. First team All-State at wide receiver, defensive back, and shocker to no one, the special teams coach's son also is a very good returner.
Not shocking at all.
Not shocking at all.
Maybe he'll be like Dabo's. Remember Dabo's sons? They were all the holder for like 10 straight years. Maybe it'll be something like that.
I made a white wide receiver joke on Twitter the other day, and I think Landon took it seriously at first, and he's like, "No, he's not like Danny Amendola." Because I said he's like, "Oh, Danny Amendola type," and Landon's like, "No, he's much faster." And I was like, "Oh, so more like Drew Hartleb."
Landon's too serious for us. We're too goofy.
I was gonna say,
because he's been killing it over on his channel. Like he must have watched he must have watched days worth of Iowa State tape. How much he knows about all these guys. I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, and I haven't watched nearly enough of those videos yet. But
yes.
Yeah, get over to the is it the Tanghua Film
Network, I believe now.
The TFN logo is still kind of confusing me from the FDB logo, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it's the same other one, just letters changed.
Yeah. The other big news that we wanted to talk about before we get into the award show was Penn State landed another transfer from another mammoth from Utah, defensive tackle Dallas Vakal-Ahi.
Good enough.
6'2", 320. 2 years of eligibility left. Did some decent stuff at the defensive tackle position. If you look like his numbers versus Xavier Gilliam's, which I recognize defensive tackle, you got to be very curious about comparing stats like that. But, 27 tackles, 2.5 TFLs, and 2 sacks in 2 years at Utah. Like those are pretty decent numbers for a defensive tackle. They've hit Utah pretty well as well. You look at how many players on this team are going to be from Utah, originally from Utah and Nebraska, and it's kind of wild. Like we're talking about a Penn State football team. But clearly, Sean, Penn State's loading up on transfer defensive tackles.
Yes, I think that was the goal. And yes, Dallas V really helps. I'm not even going to attempt to say the name, but I will learn it, I promise. Another guy that's very, very big, another guy that I kind of keep saying is I think would have really helped us this year with what Jim Knowles was looking to do. And I think one guy that must really like that we keep getting these big defensive tackles is Tony Rojas, because they're going to be able to fill up a lot of space and just let him go, let him cook. Same thing with Mr. Bacon that we got from Iowa State. And it's going to make their jobs easier. So that's something that Penn State just hasn't had as of late, these big hulking defensive tackles. And I think Penn State's going to add 1 or 2 more, and they really need to, because you want to have 4 or 5 that you feel really comfortable with. And right now they're up to about 3.5. So I think you have to be happy with how it's going at defensive tackle right now. Also, I think we're going to recruit the hell out of it next year, because a lot of these guys are older.
So, Sean, I do want to talk to you about this because we didn't talk about this enough. Oh, by the way, I forgot. last week in the YouTube comments, I forget who even asked, but somebody asked us a question about which position group do they need to focus on the most, I believe was what the question was. I didn't answer it. I told them in a chat I was going to answer it, and then I didn't. So, Sean, which position group do they need to continue to push at for this cycle?
For this cycle, I mean, I still think defensive tackle is very important. But you look at the interior of offensive line too; it is pretty thin. So I would like to see a center, like a true center, because right now it's Dom Ruley, and love Dom and everything, and I thought he played well in the Pinstripe Bowl, but I would like to see. I don't know if he could. I don't know. Like he got through as a backup. I'm not sure how he's going to be a week in week out basis, especially not playing when he's not going to be playing a dead Clemson team every week. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I think he could play somewhat, but is he a week in, week out, high level starting center in the Big Ten? I think that's a very valid question.
Yeah, I think offensive line is where you need to hit hard right now as well. No doubt about it. Sean, we didn't really talk about this a ton yet, but I want to talk about you and your feelings. And I just want to let me take my glasses off here and really just give you an opportunity. Let me be your strength here for a second. And I go to bed at night, Sean. Like I brush my teeth. I read a little bit. Um, I play my little football game on my phone, and then I go to bed. And then there's always some vibrations and buzzings that are happening uh, after I'm in bed. Text messages that I don't read because I'm in bed and I'm sleeping. But when I wake up in the morning, um, there's a lot of text messages that you're feeling underwhelmed by how Penn State's done in the transfer portal so far. And you're feeling that, Penn State isn't really going after people and maybe not flexing their muscles as much as maybe you'd like. So please, Sean, I want to have this conversation with you. And I literally want you to just kind of, tell us all how you're feeling right now about the transfer portal and Penn State's performance so far.
Well, look, let me put it this way. I understand what they're trying to do because there is some validity in that you're trying to fill the roster out. And it's not always going to be with A+ players, which is true. Like I also said I would give our roster retention a grade of about a B+ to an A- right now. So that's really good. We retained a lot more guys than I originally than I thought we would. My issue is you're bringing in a lot of guys from Iowa State, and some of those guys are ballers. There's no question about it. But I have questions about a lot of them. And I think the thing that sticks with me a little bit more than anything else is I think this regime is going to take a similar approach to the portal and maybe even the high school recruiting as James Franklin was. What I mean by that is they're not going to be crazy about throwing the quote unquote bag out to guys. And it may not feel great to do it, but you really have to. And I know some people out there are gonna say, well, look at Signetti. Kurt Signetti is a psychopath. There has never been a guy like Kurt Signetti, ever. Matt Campbell, I think, is a good to really good, maybe even a great coach. He has shown no evidence that he's Kurt Signetti, and neither has anybody for that matter. So if that's the approach we're taking here, I question it. Like you look at the top flight guys in the portal, and naturally, Penn State, when we're trying to fill out a roster, you'd think we'd be in play for a lot of them. We are not. I mean, you could say Rocco Becker's one of the higher recruited guys in the portal, or highly regarded quarterbacks in the portal, but he also played under Matt Campbell. Same thing with Sewell. Same thing with Marcus Neal. Like I said, I think they could all play, but they all played under. I was about to say Signetti. They all played under Campbell at Iowa State. So I just want to see them raise the bar a little bit and get into some of these battles for these high level guys because from what I'm seeing, both behind private information, like behind paywall and publicly, they're just not. Like right now, I saw one of the Twitter accounts. I hate that I forget who it was. They pointed out that last season, Penn State had 62 4 or 5-star players. Right now, we have 28. And you could say, well, we weren't any good last year. True. But try competing for a Big Ten title with 34 5-star guys. I just don't think that's something you're going to be able to do. And I know, and please don't bring up Indiana. Don't bring up the exception to the rule, because Indiana is the exception, because Cignetti, hell, he might be the best coach I've ever seen in my life. He's doing the best job I've ever seen. So that's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm not saying it's time to press the panic button, but I'm a tad concerned.
Yeah, I want to break down what you said in different pieces. And I wanted you to express your opinion, not because it's right, but because I do think a lot of other people feel the same way as you. And I think it's a popular opinion, if not a wrong one. But that's okay. I think, first of all, let me just say, you're when you impersonate like the person that is like angry, it's amazing that I don't know where you got that voice from or who you're like who you think of when you go whoa, but it's really funny. But let's break this down one at a time. So first of all, about the Iowa State transfers, like I think there's like two buckets of the Iowa State transfers, at least in my mind, right? You have your play now guys that only have a year or two of eligibility left. Your Rocco Becks, your Marcus Neals, etc., Carson Hanson's. And those guys were good gets regardless. They probably got, again, a friends and family discount to come to Penn State, and so forth. They weren't looking really elsewhere, and those were good gets. And then you have a bunch of Iowa State guys that, let's just face it, like Penn State needs bodies, regardless of their star level. You lose 42 something plus people to the portal. You need to backfill them just to be able to practice, let alone do anything else. And if you can get a bunch of 3-stars to do that, that's obviously better than nothing. So I think to a certain degree, you grab a bunch of these guys that aren't going to start next year, that have 3-4 years of eligibility, and maybe 20 to 40% of them hit. But at the very least, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those guys are in the portal next year or the year after that. That because they just simply never played. Think of like the Dakari Nelsons of the world, or the Antoine Belgrave Shorters of the world. Like those guys are probably going to transfer again before it's all said and done, but they're at least providing immediate depth, and that's what Penn State needs. And so I think a lot of people are like, oh, Penn State is just taking a bunch of Iowa State players. Like, why do they think they're going to win with that? Well, no, they took their best players and they're going to couple them with Penn State's best players they're able to retain, and they're going to do the best that they possibly can. But there is that kind of crack in between where you are going to need to fill additional positions that are going to start, like defensive line, like offensive line. And that's going to probably dictate how good you are in year one, because you're not going to be able to fill in really good Iowa State players and really good Penn State players. You're going to have to go get more, and they've tried so far. But to your point, they're going to need to do more of that. Now, to what you are probably most frustrated with is the fact that, oh, we have the money and it's available and we can spend it. Yes, I agree with that. But does anybody else besides Iowa State have as many positions to fill as Penn State? Like, even if, you hear that Penn State, just throw out, has 10 million to play with, right? For everybody, call it 20 million. I don't care. I'm just throwing a number out there. But if they have to fill 3 to 4 times more positions, like they have to fill, they're not like nice to haves, they're like must haves. All of a sudden, you don't have as much money per player as you do even the second tier, right? You simply don't. And when you hear that Ohio State is in a battle to get Chaz Coleman, even though he wants to come to Ohio State, and haven't been able to seal the deal because they may not have money for him, and they're sounds like having a budget, because even their starting running back, Bo Jackson, wants more money, and they just bleeded 2 5-star receivers already and a defensive back, I think, earlier today. So Ohio State's even bleeding money in the old transfer portal, and they don't have an entire roster to rebuild. And so what I'm getting at here is I get your point that Penn State's not big game hunting, and you would like them to. And I think you will see more of that next year for 2 reasons. A, they don't have to do as many, they shouldn't have to go get as many players because they'll have an actual recruiting class, hopefully. And B, I do think Matt Campbell is not as familiar with having this much money and is going to be a little bit more frugal and conservative with it, because that's what he did at Iowa State. And I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing, because although I agree with you, like, I'd let them go get a Milan Williams or a Quincy Porter or someone like that. Also, you can't miss on that either. If you're going to drop $1.5 million to go get a Bo Jackson or a Keon Kelly, is it Keon Kelly? Linebacker, Alabama, edge, Alabama.
I'm not. I think so. I don't
Something
know
like
for
that.
Sure.
If you're going to do that,
Milan Williams, it's Milan Graham, but
Milan Graham. Thank you. Was Milan Williams a running back for them at one point?
Yeah, I think Milan Williams did play for them.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he's a running back. Yeah.
If you're going to do that, fine. So be it. But if you miss on that, now you've just put a lot of money into potentially one position or one literal roster spot, and you still have what, 30 to 40 more spots to fill. And so I think what right now, and again, it's early in this whole process, like I think a lot of people are like, oh, we're the portal open and everyone who wanted to leave. Like, no, there's going to continue to be some. We already saw Tyseer Denmark, DeJuan Lane. Like, you're going to continue to see some shuffling here. And I think it's a little bit of a marathon. You can't come out, think of it like a audition, or I don't know if you ever watched that show where they go around and bid Storage Wars. They go around bidding for the different storage units that are being auctioned off. If you just blow all your cash on the first storage unit, sure, you might luck out and it might be fantastic, but you don't know what's going to happen in a second or third one. And now you don't have any more money to play with. So I think Matt Campbell is like, priority number 1. I need to have roster filled. And I got 105 spots. I need to be as close to that as possible with the 2026 guys that I can get still, my Iowa State guys. And then we got to hit the needs first. Is receiver a position that I would love to see them upgrade at? Absolutely. But is that mission critical right now? Probably not. Is it mission critical to go to the playoff? Maybe. Is it mission critical to not lose all your momentum and go 4-8 and this whole thing is already a disaster? No. So I think that's the plan. Now, if they fill the gaps, let's say they just got another defensive lineman. Let's say they get another 2 or 3 defensive linemen, and they get a couple more offensive linemen, and you're starting to feel a little bit better about where the team is as a whole. And oh, by the way, I have $3 million to spend, and now boom, someone just came open, or we do a little tampering and we go get somebody. Fantastic. But I think the game right now is I've only got a couple of worms left, and I got a bunch of fish that I still need to catch.
So you think, like, all the best players Penn State has got from the portal, you think this is it? Like, as far as, like, the top flight players that we're after?
I would not be holding my breath in thinking what we're going to nail a player that the other schools really want. If an Ohio State or a Georgia or a Tennessee or I guess an Indiana or an Oregon want somebody, I am at this moment, I am not expecting us to win any sort of bidding war. I'm just not. Now, if it was a defensive tackle or a center, which is not really sexy, but if it was one of those positions, potentially, but they're not. Maybe even a safety, which I'm a little surprised that they didn't try to go after the Minnesota safety, but that to me is I don't see them getting a big name. I just don't see it right now. Now, if they can fill out the roster a little bit more and they can get to, up to 80, 90 guys, and now you're starting to be like, oh, okay, we got ourselves a ball team here, and oh, by the way, we got some cash to spend. let's go find some gravy to put on those mashed potatoes, I think that's a different conversation. Yeah, and I know that's not a pretty sexy thing.
Yeah, and safety is another position that I was gonna mention, but I just think in game of football, defensive tackle and your interior offensive line, a little more important than a safety. And I do think Babu Torre could play. I do think Marcus Neal could play. The only thing is, I think they're very similar, and that they both love to play the run. I actually think Dejon Lane would have really complemented Marcus Neal quite well. But and here's the thing, like I said, I don't dislike everything that this regime is doing. Like Chaz Campbell, for example, or Chaz Coleman. The amount of money he was asking for, I totally understand not paying for, because he wasn't even the best freshman defensive end on the team this year. Yeah. Now he could be a first round draft pick if he could put it all together, but right now he can't even defend the run. And he becomes unplayable in some Big Ten games. So I think that's going to be true the next 3 years. No, I think he'll get it together, but I understand not wanting to break the bank for a guy that hasn't proven anything. And he's asking for, from what I've seen, a lot more than a guy like Quincy Porter is asking for.
Is so a big miss to me, Shawn, to compromise or to agree with you on something, like missing on a Saka Anto. Yep. That to me is a better example of, we had some ties. We could have probably got a little bit of a discount, and we didn't even, I don't know what happened there with A&M. But those are the ones where, like, you have to find those connections. The Rico Scotts of the world. Are they the top of the top? No. But you can get them for a disc. We're playing a little money ball right now. With just, not because of the budget we have, but because of the number of positions we have to fill.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. I just would have liked to see a few more bags dropped. Especially since Pat Kraft was telling us how much money we have. It's like, where is it? And then I'm like, did he just make it up? Which wouldn't shock me if he did. But it's just things that make you wonder. Like, where's all this money that we were told we have? And look, I understand what you're saying too, that we're in a different spot than most programs this particular year, because we had a coaching change and we had quite a bit of attrition. I think we had between 30 and 40 guys now that have transferred out. I think we're probably nearing the end of the players that are transferring out. But it just really makes you wonder, like, where all this supposed money is, and if it actually exists or not. And I guess my thing is, and one of my concerns about Matt Campbell, and I said this before we hired him, back when Penn State had just fired James Franklin and we were going through names, I was like, can Matt Campbell recruit? So I think it's an ongoing issue, an ongoing concern that I have, especially from the approach that Penn State has taken to the portal and really high school recruiting in general this year. But I'm willing to give him time. And I'm happy you mentioned Anto Saka, because that's a name that I would have liked to see us get involved with.
Did I say that backwards? I think I did.
I think so. No, that's okay. I think people knew what you meant.
We kind of touched on Kenny Sanders, but Kenny Sanders, excuse me. But he's left officially, and gone to Notre Dame of all places, which is just fantastic. Rashad Rich, another kind of guy, a former Penn State guy, is now at Buffalo, or Colorado for the Buffaloes. And then just a couple other random notes. King Matt going to NC State. That's weird and strange.
Money,
I guess, but that's strange. Caden Saunders at Southern Miss, joining with Charles Huff out there.
Charles Huff go to Memphis?
Oh, did he? You might be right. I forgot.
I might be making that up too, but I think
no. I think you're right. I think you're right. And then Keon Wiley heading to Virginia Tech as well.
Yep. Keon Wiley, like you said, one of the guys that we've liked here a little bit more than some of the average Bear. So best of luck to him. Joey Schlaffer, also, I don't know if did you mention that he went to Temple?
No.
Yep. So he'll be playing for the Owls.
Oh, and I think Aaron Enterline went to Towson, if you were very curious about that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
He was on the 2 deep in summer camp. That's what you need to know.
Mark Reeder on YouTube says, any State fan who lives through 2011 to 2016 remembers the O-line play. As long as it's not bad, we'll be good. I don't know if I completely agree with that. I think having Saquon helped with a lot of that. And even then, like, they lost a lot of games because they couldn't run the football when it mattered. And they could have some random explosive plays. But they probably don't lose to USC in 2016 if they can just run the ball at the end.
What did he say exactly?
That you don't need, as long as the offensive line isn't bad, then they'll be okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still think you need at least an above average offensive line. And again, it depends on what you're looking to have. Now, Penn State did win the Big Ten in 2016 with a bad offensive line, which I think they're the only team to ever win the Big Ten with a bad offensive line. But like you said, we had a guy named Saquon Barkley here. That made things a lot easier.
Yeah. If you're watching live, please make sure you've liked the video and subscribed. If you're listening on a podcast platform of your choice, please make sure you've subscribed wherever you've listened to there. We haven't had a 5-star review yet on Apple Podcasts, so please make sure someone write us a 5-star review in Apple. We haven't had one this month yet, so please do that. We'll read on the show. Sean, what are you going to say?
Just going to say, really want to thank everybody for being live here with us tonight. We are competing with the college football playoffs.
Yeah. So we're known for.
Or have us on a split screen. That's fine.
All right. Let's get into the Hardies Award Show, shall we?
Let's do it. We should have wore suits this year.
Yeah, maybe next year. I don't know if this year deserved it or not.
Nah, it didn't. Maybe for our 5th anniversary.
That sounds better. And I actually don't think that game has officially even started yet. I think they're still doing bologna and cheese, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they do. They say 7:30, kicks off at 8:08.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's get into the Hardies Awards. So we're going to go in order. And again, you can still vote. It's still live on X. The Google form is still live. I'll probably leave it open for another day, see if we get a couple more votes. I don't think it's going to change anything. There is a thing at the bottom where you can provide feedback. So please provide us with feedback. We do read it and we do take it into account. So please provide feedback. We got some good ones already. All right. The first award, Sean, the Premature Maturation Award. This award is given to the player who developed and was a stud maybe before anyone else expected him to be. Drum roll, bada bada boomba. And I don't know if there's a little bit of spite in this one, but without doubt, blowing the competition out of the water with 70% of the votes as of right now. The winner of the 2026 Hardies Award for Premature Maturation goes to cornerback Darius Dixon, which is also who I voted for.
I voted for Darius Dixon too. Best freshman corner I've seen maybe ever at Penn State. And that's with Terry Smith there, that's pretty high praise.
Yeah. Hopefully that he can continue to develop. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, that's one of the concerns because
holding my breath.
Some guys have a tendency to level out, but yeah, Darius Dixon was awesome this year. Every time I use our best corner.
All right, well, let's go right on to the next award. The Getting Offensive Award, given typically to the offensive MVP. easiest award of the night we're going to give away. If this award was at the Emmys or the Grammys or the Golden Globes, or they would have given this award out before the show even started. They wouldn't even made it on there. Like, he wouldn't even got to do a little acceptance speech. And the winner of this year's 2026 Hardies Award for Getting Offensive goes to no other than running back Kaytron Allen, receiving 92% of the votes. Not surprising, Sean.
I mean, I wrote in Liam Clifford, but I voted for Kaytron. I mean, he was the one guy through Terry Smith described it as the storm, that 6-game losing streak that we were on. He was the one guy every week that we were like, oh, Kaytron played well, like every single week. So Kaytron deserved it. Just a dog, brought it every single week. One of my favorite backs of all time at Penn State. Had a hell of a career.
Absolutely, got over the 4,000 yard mark too.
Yeah, all-time leading rusher at Penn State. Broke Evan Royster's record, and he's number 2 in touchdowns or number 3 in touchdowns?
He's up there.
Yeah, his running mate Nick Singleton got the touchdown record, which was cool. But really, really happy for Kaytron Allen. Every NFL, like, I heard a lot of talk about where would he fit in the NFL? Anywhere. He'll do well in any scheme because that's just the kind of back he is.
I'd be very curious to see where he goes and how he does. All right, well, let's keep it moving on to the Mr. Dependable Award, given to the player who is the most reliable on or off the field. And the winner of the 2026 Hardies Award for Mr. Dependable, in a little bit closer of one, only receiving 45.8% of the vote, is kicker Ryan Barker, who I also voted for, I believe. Kaytron Allen received 37% of the vote there as well, if you were curious. Sean, did you vote for Ryan Barker?
I did. I did vote for Ryan Barker. Only missed one kick. It was a block from 50-plus yards. How do you get more dependable than that? Another guy that we did not complain one time about, just gave him his praise. So, yeah, awesome job this year. Could have went to Kaytron for sure, but when you consider what Ryan Barker did, and we do like to spread the wealth around a little bit, I think you got to give it to Barker, and it was well deserved.
Vega Ione also received 17% of the vote, by the way.
Yes, Vega also, because and we really should. This is kind of on me a little bit. Maybe on us as a whole that we didn't praise Vega enough because we killed the offensive line the whole first half of the season. But we really should have praised Vega more because he was never the problem, even when they weren't playing well.
Correct. Off to the NFL as well. All right, the next award we'll be giving out tonight, the Havoc Award, given to the player who causes the most disruption on defense. I thought this was going to be an interesting one because I don't think the defense really created that much havoc this year. This award kind of originated around Manny Diaz, and it was kind of an interesting one to give away, but this person ended up getting almost 60% of the vote. And the winner of this year's 2026 Hardies Award for Havoc goes to defensive end Deni Dennis Sutton. Now, Sean, I gave him this award as well. I voted for him as well, not just for the defense, but the blocked punts as well.
Same. Yeah, the first thing I thought of was block punts. He tied Jack Ham's record for most block punts in Penn State history. That record stood for Jack Ham played like 50-some years ago. So that's very, very impressive anyway you slice it. Had a streaky year, but all around played very well on defense. Got a lot, really turning it on as the season went on. So yeah, and with this award, I feel like there should be not an asterisk, but I wish Tony Rojas stayed healthy the whole year because I think this had Tony Rojas' name written all over it. Yeah, I think he would have because he was off to a red hot start.
Are you putting in your nomination or are you giving away your preview episode already for in August?
I guess you could say that because he probably will be my preseason Havoc Award winner. But preseason awards mean nothing. So, yeah, I do feel for one of the many reasons I feel for Tony Rojas' season. Small reason I feel for him is he would have won this Hardy Award that's highly coveted.
Zachy Wheatley also received almost 30% of the vote, and then Zion Tracy, Zane Durant, and Amari Campbell received a vote each as well. All right, so these next couple get a little bit more dicey. That I guess theoretically could change as we continue to let the voting stay open. The We're Gonna Miss You award, obviously going to the player we will miss most for next season, which is a little bit tricky for sure. But to no surprise yet again, the winner of the 2026 Hardies Award for We're Going to Miss You also goes to Katron Allen, receiving 45% of the vote. Again, kind of split after that. Nick Singleton got 2 votes here. Zachy Wheatley again. Vega got some. Denai Dennis Sutton also got some. But at the end of the day, not surprised. I mean, if you have Katron Allen back, you feel like you have a chance in every ball game.
This was the one award I was really torn. Well, there were 2 awards, but the one positive award I was really torn with between Katron and Ashley Vengo Ioane. But I did ultimately vote for Katron just because I thought he had just a really special year inside this year of upheaval. Like Katron was always the one shining light. So gave it to Katron, but I think you could have made an excellent case for Venga. You could have made a really good case for a guy like Zachy Wheatley too.
I think I went Zachy. Just given the safety depth, I think I went with Zachy Wheatley.
Yeah, because we said that all year. If we don't have Zachy Wheatley, we're in big trouble.
And for next year, like if you have him back, you feel a lot better about that room.
100%. Yeah, I'd feel a lot better about the whole defense if we had Zachy Wheatley back. But,
all right, Sean.
Yeah, I did ultimately go Katron.
Probably the fan favorite award. We are now going to be giving away the "Wow, we were wrong" award. If you haven't seen Owen Wilson go, "Wow," I highly recommend it. This is given to the player who proved us wrong. Now that can be positive or it can be negative. It can be up to you. I had to go back and see who won the award the first year we did this, but I know it was positive. Yes. Maybe someone that we didn't think was going to do well and then did do well, and I had to eat crow. That's happened a couple times when we've given out this award. Not so much this time. Actually, we're still eating crow almost every time we give this award out. But it's this time, again, for the negative. I think Drew Aller won this award maybe last year, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe I threw him in there. I forgot who. Maybe I voted for him. I think I might have.
I wouldn't doubt if you did.
Do you remember who got it last year? I guess I could probably figure it out.
I have a feeling last year was the first time this went dark, but it could have easily been 2 years ago as well.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you.
Drew might have won in 2023, actually.
Oh, maybe
there was a lot of hype for him. And well, you know.
I think this was maybe not positive. Trey Wallace won the award last year.
Oh.
Which we were wrong again. We were wrong twice on him.
You know what? I'm going to take the Hardy away from him because after watching it with Ole Miss, no, it wasn't him.
In a positive light, Abdul Carter received 20% that year. In the negative light, Omari Evan also received 20% of the vote. Drew Aller did receive 15% of the vote. So there you have it.
Well, if you were going to go negative, we all know who should have won last year. But really, I think I voted for Abdul Carter, if I'm not mistaken, because he was so good.
Are you curious if you? I don't think the first year we did a Google form, but 2 years ago we did as well. And that year, you know who won that one almost unanimously? Not really unanimously, but 56% of the vote. Which is not unanimous at all, but you want to take a guess on who won it?
I'm going to go Dante Cephas.
Dante Cephas.
Yeah, he's another guy that got a lot of hype. So 2 receivers.
And Kalen King was in second that year.
Yeah.
In a positive one, Devon Ellis at the time, he wasn't Jay Thomas yet, was third that year. That would have been more positive.
I'm pretty sure I voted for him. I think this is the first year I really went negative.
Okay. It's a fun award. Not to win, obviously. But this year, I some people wrote in for this one, which is always
did we get some write-ins?
Not a bunch, but we got some. The 2026 wow, we were wrong award goes to, by a slim percentage of just 4%, the offensive line. The entire offensive line wins the award.
Wow, barely. That's who I voted for too.
Barely beating out head coach James Franklin. I chose the offensive line as well, Sean. Why did you choose them?
So I picked the offensive line because I thought this was going to be like the 1994 offensive line, and man, I look like a moron for thinking that. So because look, Franklin, we all knew a lot of the issues James Franklin had. Every issue that James Franklin had reared its ugly head, and then like tenfold. And a similar thing with Drew Aller. I mean, I thought Drew Aller would take another step this year, and he took 2 or 3 steps back. So I was wrong about that, but I also kind of knew who Drew Aller was. And if you go back to our preseason show, I thought he didn't really need to do much because the offensive line was going to be so good and would carry this team. And that just did not happen at all, especially the first half of the year when Drew was healthy. So to me, I had to go offensive line because pretty much my whole prediction hinged on the offensive line. And man, oh man, was I off on that one. And I know you threw in Zane Durant too, but even that, and part of it's the scheme. And when Penn State tried to do things a little bit differently late in the year, he did play better. So he wasn't really playing in a, so out of all these nominees, he's the least responsible for our woes. And Cory, it also made me think of this. I think I've said this in prep. I don't know if I ever said it on here. I thought Penn State was going to be Indiana is this year. I thought we were going to line up. We're going to kick your ass. We're going to out-physical you. We're going to have a great defense. I did not think Drew Aller would be as good as Fernando Mendoza, but I thought he'd be good. And none of that.
I thought Aller was going to be good, and I was way wrong on that. So,
yeah, I thought he'd be a good to really good quarterback, like good enough to think Dante Moore. I think Dante Moore is a step down from Fernando Mendoza, at least as a college player, but still really good college quarterback. And nope. So could have went a bunch of different ways, but ultimately I did go offensive line.
I chose offensive line too, pretty much for everything that you just said. So I'm not gonna go through that again, but that's exactly right. I mean, biggest disappointment by far. Don't even completely blame them. I think they were set up for failure by not running the ball early in the season. But yeah, that was a big disappointment. Honestly, James Franklin being at 32% is fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's ultimately his fault that all this happened.
I was wrong. I'll just be honest with you. I was wrong about him. I thought he had it. And the Oregon game for me was really the turning point, because there was no excuse for losing that game to Oregon. Zero. Even looking back now, if you tell me the team at the end of the year gets a whiteout going up against Oregon, I still think they have a punching chance in that game. I really do.
Terry said it after he got the job that he thought they were better than everybody that he played, including Oregon. Do I think they're better than Oregon? I don't know. Probably not. Oregon's playing tomorrow, tomorrow.
I wouldn't take them to a neutral site, but in a whiteout game, you can't, with a week off to prepare, you got to win that game.
And no matter what happens in that game, you shouldn't be down 2 weeks later, 24 or a week later, 24-0 against UCLA. So who do I blame the most for this year? James Franklin, because he let all of this happen because of the way things went going into the season, just the way they handled the first month of the year. So ultimately, it's on James Franklin, but just the award goes to the person that surprised you the most, and that's or group that surprised you the most, and that is the offensive line, because I could have seen going into the year James Franklin messing this up.
One person said group award, and someone else said all of the above. So appreciate that.
Those are fine answers. Nobody positive?
Award. No.
I don't even know who the positive would be.
There would be. No, I'm trying to think. I was thinking about that. I was like, but who did we think was going to be bad that was good? And I was like, no, I thought Liam Clifford was going to stink, and he did. So
yeah, right. Yeah, it's hard.
Honestly, another one that could be on there is Khalil Dinkins, if we're going to be honest.
Or Luke Reynolds. Yeah. I guess Rap could have been a positive. But I always thought Rap was good. I always thought Rap was good.
So. It's hard to find a wow you're wrong when you're usually right. All right. We'll move on from that one. Let's go to the Clutch Award, given to the player who showed up in the biggest moments. This one's tough because nobody really showed up a bunch in the biggest moments. I think we had the biggest discrepancy on this award. But the winner of the 2026 Hardies Award, Clutch Award, goes to kicker Ryan Barker, 40% of the vote. Katron received 20%, Grunkmeyer received 20%, a couple others sprinkled in there. Traber Pena got a vote, Singleton got a vote, which I thought was interesting. Devontae Ross also got a vote. But Ryan Barker, Mr. Dependable, and also Clutch, which I think is fair.
Can you repeat who got votes again?
Nick Singleton, Devontae Ross, Ethan Grunkmeyer, Traber Pena, Denai Dennis Sutton, Zakee Wheatley.
Okay. I voted for Grunk. Reason I voted for Grunk.
I knew you were going to.
Yeah, reason I voted for Grunk is he gets thrown into the fire and ends up having a better year than the starting quarterback, and started at Kinnick, then has to go to Columbus, and then hosts Indiana. And does lose those games, but you could see him get a little better every week. And he straight up played well against Indiana in the second half of that game. And then he played well the whole month of November, except kind of Michigan State game, and he played really well in the bowl game. So, like you said, there haven't been a lot of big clutch spots this year that we really came through at. But it's kind of a culmination thing, so I had to give it to Gronk. But I understand Barker, too, because he had some big kicks, especially in the bowl game. I don't know if we won the bowl game low-key without Ryan Barker.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think that's why I picked him, was just because of that specifically. A lot of massive kicks all throughout the year. All right. This used to be the Samwise Gamgee Award. Sean has still not watched Lord of the Rings, which it's like 3 years now you haven't watched. It's just a 3-hour. One of them is a 3-hour movie. The trilogy is, I guess, 9 hours. But
yeah, there's a bunch of them. But yeah,
you think by now you could have literally watched one a year, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But no, you haven't even attempted it. Which maybe that's what we need to kind of get Penn State's mojo back. Penn State has not won a national championship since you've refused to watch Lord of the Rings. Just saying. Just statistically, they haven't.
That I don't argue with.
It is we renamed the Samwise Gamgee Award the Vanover Hardy Award to honor Amin Vanover and Daquan Hardy. The award is given to the unsung hero of the team, and I think this one's always a very close race. At the moment, we have a tie, which
oh boy,
I guess is statistically possible.
I don't know if this ever happened.
No,
a tie.
So I guess the winners, until someone breaks this, hopefully later, which would be cheating if you kind of listen to this and then go vote for one of them, but that's okay. I don't care that much about it. It's not that deep. But the winner of the 2026 Hardies Award for Unsung Hero / Vanover Hardy Award goes to both punter Gabe Nwosu and linebacker Amari Campbell. And a very close third place, Zachy Wheatley, which I think the Wheatley one makes plenty sense. I voted for Gabe Nwosu, Sean.
Okay, I voted for Venga Ioane.
Okay, he got 2 votes, so you're not alone.
Shout out to the other guy that voted for it. But yeah, there are really a few different guys that could have got it. I'm cool with Gabe winning it or Brian Barker. Zachy Wheatley's a good pick. Kind of embodies that Vanover Hardy spirit. But I voted for Venga just because he showed up every week. He could have got Mr. Dependable as well. But I do think when the whole college football world, especially the Penn State world, is just roasting your offensive line constantly, and there's this one really good guy, he's being overlooked. So that's why I ultimately voted for Venga.
That's fair. Gabe Nwosu, why not? I mean,
yeah, he was very good.
I'm excited to watch him. I mean, you see the way Jordan Stouts dominated in the NFL. I think Gabe Nwosu could have a very similar career. And I'm excited for him. So I don't think he shanked one this year, as if I recall.
That's the most impressive thing, because that was
early on as
Coach James Franklin talked about that going in, because it was kind of a surprise that he was the punter. And he said he was always able to kick it a mile, but it was just a mile in a bunch of different directions. You never knew where it was going to go. But he ended up getting everything straight. And again, one of these guys that had a really, really good year in a tough year for us. But it was never, Gabe bailed us out of trouble sometimes, and was just consistent, which you love to have as well.
Zion Tracy, Drew Shelton, Nick Dawkins also received votes. For what it's worth there. Okay, the last award we have, Sean, the Jomo Award, given to the best assistant coach on the staff. I thought for sure we would have a unanimous decision on this one.
I thought so too.
No doubt in my mind. But without further ado, the 2026 Jomo Award given to the best assistant coach goes to interim head coach Terry Smith, receiving 92% of the vote. So
I also voted for Terry Smith. I don't know how it can't go to Terry.
I did throw Justin Lustig on there, but just I thought it was worth throwing his name on there.
In past years, it would have been Justin Lustig because he did a great job. I know Dex got nominated too. Again, his unit was good, but it's got to go to Terry. I mean, the guy, he should write a book on being an interim coach.
It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Yeah, I thought I was going to have something else to say there, but I don't. I do want to give a shout. We also asked the question, do you watch or listen to Hardcore Penn State Football? And one person just straight up said no. So thank you for that. I give the options of yes, no, sometimes, or I'm going to, and the person just said no. I'm not going to.
That's fine. I'm not going to, so quit asking.
We do ask for what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, and then any other thoughts you have. We did get some good ones there, so we appreciate that. This one's interesting. They said rate next year's performances as, quote, the other coach quotes. Do you know what that means?
Read it again.
Rate next year's performances as the other coach quotes.
I'm not sure what that means. Yeah.
Is this the is this a I don't know if that's a thing that is like out there in the internet that I'm just not aware of and it's going over my head. Please explain. Sorry, I don't get that one.
You sound like boomers trying to understand 6'7".
Yeah, that's exactly right. We so I asked what less you'd like to see from Hardcore Penn State. Time off between episodes. One episode a week. So I need 2 a week per. I need 2 times weekly, boys. And then someone said no. And then for other thoughts, some other random thoughts in here too. Just a lot of really nice things. I'll send these to you, Sean, so you can read them. One said we need a Tyler Elsdon category, which I think was fantastic.
Maybe we will add that next year.
We're gonna have a Tyler Elsdon Liam Clifford Award, perhaps. We're gonna get shot by somebody at some point. But and then someone else said that Drew Aller is a domestic terrorist. So thank you for that.
I have a feeling we both know exactly who that is too.
Yeah. Someone said, keep doing your thing. You guys are unique in the landscape of Penn State pods. Very conversational, like talking to buddies about my favorite team. So I appreciate that.
That's what we go for.
I guess what we're going for. I don't really know what we're going for, but we'll take that.
Yeah, me neither, but that's kind of how I see us too.
Absolutely. Okay, so there you have it. There's the Hardies 2026 award show. Not as exciting, obviously. But I will say this, Sean. This marks the end of season 4 of this podcast.
That's right. We could turn the page on this past season on the James Franklin era. And it's going to be a new era, guys. And we're going to be here with you. And yeah, that's really it. I'm happy that we could finally close the book on 2025 and move on with our lives. We will be covering the combine and the draft though, and the guys that are going to be competing there. Long-time listeners know we do that.
All right. Well, with that being said, we'll let you guys go watch the college football playoff. We are going to take a little bit of a hiatus. Going to take, I think, a week off. We'll be back. We'll still be on Twitter and whatnot, but I'll take a week off from the podcast before we start season 5. So appreciate your patience, and then we'll get right into it. So thank you so much. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, and we will see you next time. That's Shawn Kane over here. I'm Cory Lestochi. You have been listening and watching Hardcore Penn State Football. Until next time. Bye, everybody.
See you on the other side of the open portal.